Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly referee today, because today we're carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's outstanding science fiction role-playing game, Traveler, 2nd edition. And with me today are the stars of our Pirates of Drinax campaign, or Borderland Run campaign, whatever we're calling it now. The crew of the Rift Wanderer, in any event. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, well, we've got James.
Hello, James. I'm playing Captain Gani, one of the owners of the Rift Wanderer.
Very nice. Next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'm playing Dr. Ilyas Abdel, a gifted physician and the other co-owner of the Rift Wanderer.
Nice. And last, but certainly not least, is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham, and I'm playing Laris Zathu, who is a Darien, and he is, well, he's effectively an employee of the business of the Rift Wanderer.
Very nice. This is part 5 of our Pirates of Drinax, a leg of our campaign. Last session was quite the chatty one, guys. What do you guys recall having happened last time? I brought us over with some visual aids to assist with that. I mean, I know we have a new favorite NPC, but I don't want to talk about Mother Candle the whole time.
Oh, is that the one? Well, following on from Anchor's chat with the actual favorite NPC, Solomon, we had a bit of a group debrief, and Anchor did some research into him and found out that his resources seem to come from a company called Peerless Passage, which Alonso had experience with, and he told us that they, while they are an actual sort of delivery company, they also help psychics that want to get away from regimes that are less than friendly to them. So we assume that either Solomon or whoever he is after might be a psychic, and because he had agreed to a medical, I checked his vitals and found out he does indeed have the genetic disposition for being a psychic, but is using some very powerful, unpleasant repressant to not give away that he's a psychic. And we sort of discussed what to do. I think we were all supportive of at least hearing him out and having a chat with him, but making sure that Mother Candle, who is asking a lot of questions and just popping up all around the ship, is not aware of it. So we arranged for Solomon to join us in the crew part of the ship, while Mother Candle was having one of her sessions with Burris, who is fully on board with the Candle of Hope.
Ministry? Did you? I forget, Dr. Ilyas, did you want more literature on the Candle of Hope Ministries? Or did you?
No, I think I'm good, thank you. That's very kind of you. But
we did provide the videos, though, right? There's the video instruction series. Yeah, there's 3 30-part series that are largely cover the overview of the beliefs, but then there's also a 90-part seminar series.
And that there are different levels depending on how much you have already learned. You attain a higher level, and then you.
I see you've have been reading some of the material. That's very encouraging.
Is there a machine to measure it?
It's like a pyramid-shaped structure, right? That's what you have.
I mean, the pyramidal structure does have or the triangle does have some very powerful, Trinity associations with it. We should not scoff at the structure of anything, including organizations or schemes, just by virtue of how they happen to be organized.
I have a sedative lying around here somewhere.
For her, for you?
For me, I think.
So Mother Candle, was. Oh, I interrupted you. Sorry.
Yeah, we were able to gain Solomon's trust, and he's upset by telling us that he's after a girl called Evie. Well, not after. Evie was kidnapped or taken off world, and he's sort of determined to get her back. And he has been tracking her for a while, and he's fairly certain she will be on Drinax, where she will be handed over to. He was a bit cagey and, like, they are after her and they're very powerful. And I think we eventually sort of were like, we kind of know you're psychic, we all have secrets, we have a biological robotic being here. So Yuri revealed himself as Ultima One, and we revealed that we also have psychics among us. But I think we didn't give away that Alonso is the psychic, because I feel that's something Alonso would have to decide.
Yeah.
And then so he opened up a bit more, and then essentially Evie and Solomon are both psychics, and she's been kidnapped by very powerful psychics who very sort of horrifyingly have made her parents not necessarily forget, but sort of reprogrammed them to be outwardly okay or not remember her. Which is why he's also concerned that if we find Evie, she might not want to come with us, because she's also been potentially reprogrammed. And then he mentioned that maybe the Zoldani are involved. And he showed us a very grainy picture of the two people that might be. And one of them is a powerful telepath, and the other one is a powerful telekinetic. So both of them are bad news. But if we can get to Drinax and get Evie away, he has friends, i.e. the Peerless, who might be able to help us. And I believe there's a ship called the Bonhomme involved.
Yes. What could be possibly wrong with a ship called the Good Guy? I mean, come on.
And I think we all sort of agree to help. I think Captain Ghani might have some minor misgivings about psychics due to his background, but the rest of us were very sort of okay with helping and keeping Mother Candle out of it. But she insisted on giving us a presentation on her pyramidal triangular structure anyways. And then we dropped out of Jum in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Anything to add, folks?
Yeah. Did you mention, sorry, David, did you mention how it was as if a switch had been flicked on her family?
Yes, so they've been able to make her parents
I missed some of the sound. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
So apparently, given that we know that one of them is a potent telepath, presumably she's worryingly powerful enough to mess with people's minds that way.
And Captain Ghani, do you have any skills you think would speak to your, like military tactics as against the Zoldani, or any kind of espionage or intelligence that you may have with respect to the Zoldani? If not, we'll do an intellect check. We'll count it as trained at 0 as opposed to untrained.
Yep, sadly not. I will have learned all of the things which a Navy officer would think of bloody Zoldani.
Yeah. So go ahead and give us a intellect check, please, at no modifier. And we did roll for those listening at home, we did roll for luck just before the session, so everyone's got 10 luck. The collective crew has 10 luck. That is a pretty fucking good result. So before we went live, I was, man, I'd say taunting, but I don't know what the other description might be. The players with some of the uniquely Zoldani psychic abilities, because there is in the Aliens of Charted Space Volume 1, there is a specific psychic discipline called Zoldani. That is just the things they can do, and they are, perhaps unsurprisingly, there are things that they can do that no known psychic in the Third Imperium or in the kind of Borderlands areas, not beyond what any of them are capable of. So the because I was reading to fully understand the nature of the Third Imperium's psychic stuff. If you're a telepath, you typically can easily get into any unguarded mind or unshielded mind, and if you run up against someone who is a telepath, they naturally always have their kind of shields up, so it's very easy to either read someone's mind to realize they've got other abilities beyond telepathy, or to hit a telepath and realize, oh fuck, I can't get into that mind. The Zordani are the only ones who have an ability to present an open mind while also being a telepath, because they can hide behind it, and they have some really awful offensive abilities, like they can shut down weaponry or machinery. They can teleport other people, and typically teleportation only can be used by yourself, and then that's generally you do it naked, unless you're really having some effort to bring your clothing and maybe some other stuff along. You have to have hardwired armor with psychic kind of connections in order to teleport with that. I mention that because if someone uses teleportation on you, it probably means that your armor's being left behind. So you would have heard about all of this stuff, Ganny. I think the 10 tells us that beyond what the average person have heard, you may have had someone who had, during either a veteran of the Fourth Frontier War or someone who had at least had some like border skirmishes with them, had some fucking horror stories about what their commandos were capable of. Anna is traumatized by it still, as you can hear. So this is some of the stuff that your character, I think Ganny would be able to bring to the table. So perhaps, while not justifying his potential concern about telepaths, he's aware of what Zordani can uniquely do with their gifts.
Entirely justified.
Entirely. So that is what the Zordani. Oh, and for folks at home, if you are curious, that's the book that has the all the Zordani special, or at least in the most recent printing, that's what has the Zordani abilities in it. So, I think Solomon left you guys to have a chat, or he was gonna leave, and then you guys were like, "Look, man, we're on board." And that's, I think, where we left things with you guys dropping out into empty space, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And let me see. I don't think we rolled. We didn't. Look at that. Pretty good. Someone's looking for that psionic shield helmet. I can't imagine why. Then what? I think that is just a matter of like spinning up the engines again, right? Because you're not going to have any. There's not a star or a system that you need to escape. It's just a matter of like cycling the fuel and then making your next jump, right?
Just pump the fuel across.
Mm-hmm.
Away we go.
Okay. So let's do that. All right. And I think astrogation is I want to say, is that Captain Canny or is that Anchor?
That's Dr. Ilias.
Ah.
Yep.
Well, I could do it, but he's better than me.
Okay. Dr. Ilias, I think it's a 4, is it not?
Yeah, it's been quite a... It's not modified by the distance we're jumping or something.
Oh yeah, modified by the jump distance. And you guys are covering 2, so it'll be -2 to your roll.
Ooh. Ooh.
Look at that.
Clearly, all of these tales about Zordani telepathic abilities have absolutely frazzled Dr. Illis's nerves.
Yeah. Holy smokes. Okay. So
Laris,
then,
from now on, I'll be doing the astrogation.
all right. So then, and just as a reminder for those at home, we're playing with an optional roll. Snake Eyes, you cannot re-roll, and it comes with a consequence, or you cannot modify with luck at least. All right. Well, I'm sure nothing will come from that. I mean, it's not like you guys are, using something to, shear open a dimension and jam your ship into it. Why don't speaking of which, actually, and I probably got that wrong, but this, whoa, boy, came in this week too. Starship Operations. It's not really an awful lot of like mechanics in it, but fuck, is it cool as far as like explaining how different things work and giving you a sense of like this is what a galley will look like in it. This is what a stateroom would look like in it, and give you a couple of different options for things. Super cool. Like even, I love this. It's a lift. So if you've got the lift in the ship, examples for that. I'm a sucker for any kind of atmospheric illustrations, so love it. Anyway, have I sufficiently distracted you from your critical fail? Okay, jump. This will be Engineer J Drive. Who is making that roll?
Ooh, I think that'll be me.
All right. See that double snake eyes.
Engineer J. Right. Here we go.
Okay, so it's an easy 4, and I'm sure that the critical fail before will not affect the check secretly. You'll be fine. There you go. Is that 6? Okay. If you give us 1 luck, you'll have noticed just before executing things that there is a critical miscalculation that has slipped its way into Dr. Ilias's astrogation calculations, and you will be able to correct for that.
Dr. Ilias, did you skip your maths course?
No, why?
You had us off into deep space with that one. This is way off beam. I think you need to go recalculate.
I'll go over the math again. Oh, I forgot to carry the 3. No, you're right. It's all of this talk of telepath and telekinetics and your brain being melted. It's
definitely had something else in your mind. It's funny. It's that a topic of conversation, and I made a joke about like basic math being a silly skill in GURPS before, and there was this topic of discussion during Graham's care gen earlier this morning about the utility of basic math as a skill. So yeah, I know, Anna, I know. Okay, so then you have made that effective correction. You guys are back in and en route to Drinax. Now, let's see. Captain Ganny, would you give us a D6 roll, please?
D6.
There we go.
That's a good, right?
Yeah, it is a good, would each, Dr. Ilias and Laris give us a Route 66 roll, please?
I had a bad feeling about this.
snake eyes all around.
Okay. Oh, remember, it's you're rolling 2D. Route 66 is not a D66 because we need to see 2 separate 6s.
Apologies, yeah.
That is okay. All right. So I don't know. It was the climate, the microclimate thing that was going on before, where I kept defaulting to trying to acclimatize you guys over the week to Spurl. Yeah, before. And so the protein in this, like, in the meals, it seems off. It's edible, but all your meals that contain protein, whether of meat products or plant products, just is, it's a little off for the next week. Huh. Remind me, cargo is bulk cargo today, right? For what you're transporting? I think you guys took on...
Yeah, we have...
Yeah.
Okay.
We have 10 tons of mail.
Okay.
We have 4 tons of freight. And we have 6 low passengers and our 3 mid passengers.
Yes. Okay. So the... Let's see here. Check to see if we got a random table in here for this. Oh, let's do this. Captain Ganny, would you give us a Route 66 roll as well?
All right.
Okay. So, and then let me roll randomly here. All right. So this will be later in the week where something happens.
That's something good, right?
What is it not? Come on. So what do you guys have? What, if anything, do you wish to do for the next week? I mean, one of the things to consider is, I suppose, what you're going to do when you arrive in Drinax. You will have several days of travel from Outrim into or Outsystem into Drinax itself to decide. But what's the plan here? Or is there any plan?
I think Dr. Elias would ask Gani, as he probably has the most experience. How do you face psychics? There are all of these horror stories, but as I checked, the Zodani are not in charge of the galaxy. So while they sound terrifying, there must be ways of dealing with them, countering them. There must be weaknesses.
Principally using a Tigris class battleship, as I remember my old admiral used to say. Don't let them get in close.
One thing to put a point on as well is that this is well out of their territory. You know, this is quite... Whoever is... I mention that only because whatever their apparatus is, it is not the same kind of support structure that you would have if you were operating on the border or, you know, within Zodani space. This is someone... These folks must be operating quite well, you know, outside of the regular, like, supply lines and support structures and whatever else. What, as a reminder, Solomon's plan was to sort of stake out the Banam and then wait to see if Evie and her captors arrive. And I mean, given his look, I assume he was planning on walking up to them, stinking of bourbon and cigarettes, and punching them. He did check a firearm, though, I think, when he checked in as well. You got one of his firearms and one of Burris's firearms in the ship's locker.
I think you were talking about these psychic shields, because otherwise I think it is caution and heavy firepower. But, you know, take it from me, a Navy man, I'm not necessarily the most subtle.
The psychic shield would also protect against telepathy. I actually don't think they protect against teleportation.
Everyone at their stations to get equipment back online if necessary.
I'll do a quick check on what it does, if you like, in the background.
Yeah, actually on page 235 of the core book, any armor incorporating helmet or hood can have a psychic shield that blocks all telepathic power. But
this is...
Yeah.
But that's fine.
But I guess one other thing, they need to be able to, you know, have clear thoughts in order to manifest it. They also, as you point out, Captain County, they need to see you in order to do so. And those types of abilities typically have... hold up. You rolled really well. Let me just double check the range on it, because I think you would have an idea of how best to... how best to engage such things. Here we go. Oh, yeah, it's pretty far. Yeah, like 5 kilometers far. So if if you're in line of sight, telepathy, that teleportation thing, and the machine thing is the other issue too. Is that there are some of them that can just shut your gun down, or have it misfire, or have your armor malfunction. And that's part of the standard sort of Zodani. Some are going to have more training in certain areas than others too, but without knowing the power profile of these things or these agents, those are all possibilities of what they could be capable of. So what do you guys think?
Time to get a cutlass.
What's a law level on Drinax? So I can't remember what you guys were bringing around with you when you were there last time. Okay, so law level is the penultimate number. And I got Trojan Reach book right here. That's Marduk. Do you guys recall offhand? Subsector. Oh, I think I've got it here. Laiawaha. Yeah, Drinax. A law level.
Very high.
Yeah, I suppose you'd expect that.
Yeah. Yeah, all weapons and all armor are forbidden. So
that's good.
Yeah, so at the very least they should be, well, they won't be armed, but
Dr. Elias did pick up some inhibitor drugs last time we were on Drinax. After the incident we had with Alonso and all. But if they have to be injected, which presumably requires being very close to them, which might be very dangerous. And if guns are not allowed, I presume we can't turn them into a blowgun or something, but in case that might come in handy.
I guess technically guns are not supposed to be there. There are ways to get them on as well, because I think it's the companion that has some extensive rules for smuggling things in that are supposed to be forbidden. It is... Maybe it's starports I was looking at. What do you guys think? Have you that the suppression would definitely do that, because their skills, just mechanically speaking, their skills, but you guys would know they would need to have focus and concentration and access to their psychic abilities in order to manifest them. So if you suppress them, that would absolutely nullify one significant advantage and would likely throw them off kilter, because it would be something they would typically rely on as part of their combat effectiveness.
Yeah, the inhibitors don't fully suppress them. I think there's a TL16 null drug, which I guess we might be able to get on Drinax. That completely suppresses it.
Drinax does have an E tech level. Oh, E maybe?
15.
Yeah, E tech level, so one less than what would be required. Doesn't mean it can't find it, just means that it may be challenging to do so. For smuggling things on to the station, I can't find what I was thinking of. I know, I'm wondering if it was in a different source book that I was looking at, other than the companion. Oh, no, it's in here. Here we go. Fucking awesome. All right, so they have there's an entire chapter called Legalities and Law Breaking. Can't imagine why you'd have that in this game. All right, so there is also a chance of obtaining weapons through arms dealers. I imagine that would apply to controlled substances like powerful suppressants as well. So what do you guys think? Is the plan to just encounter them as well, or just to do what Solomon said? You do have at least a familiar enough to be talking to him basis with the king. And while we're not using the rules yet of the allies and enemies from the companion, you could probably at least get a modifier if you wanted to call in assistance from him. Whether you want to be indebted to King Oleb is another question.
You probably wouldn't be thrilled at Zodani agents on Drinax either.
I mean, no. Any more than any other major polity. Or at least if they're around, you'd want to know about it. Can we do, is the plan really to follow Solomon in, reconnoiter, understand the lay of the land, work out who's where? We don't yet have a lot to go on, really, in a way.
And if the girl is indeed equally mind-influenced, she'll probably resist coming with us and will cause quite a scene in public.
Yeah.
One thing that Solomon may not have contemplated that you guys maybe, that especially Dr. Elias, with you having investigated the medical, impact of psychic powers, or the medical realities of psychic powers, thanks to Alonso's abilities and recent troubles. Psychics, especially telepaths, would be much more capable of resisting the kinds of things that especially if they're as capable as what Solomon says Evie is. She may not be as easily mind wiped or brain washed the way that the non-psychics were. That's not to say it's impossible, and it's unlikely that the Zordani would send anyone other than powerful psychics out as these agents, because they just, they have access to a lot more powerful psychics in their society than what the Third Imperium does. But they may not have had to, also brainwashed her. They may have just been giving promises of what life will be like, in the consulate. Which is no different, a kind of brainwashing, I guess.
Dr. Ellis would definitely spend some time looking at if there are non-psychic ways of repairing or undoing the mind meddling.
Yeah, I think, give us a medic check. I think it's medic, right, in this game?
For the Miss of Medicine side.
Yeah.
Where are we?
I think you would have, so I should have given you so I'm assuming you've got plenty of time to do this, so you'd be able to get the +2 from taking extra time. So 12. There are options, there's psychosurgical options, but they require some pretty high technology, and typically they're best used when you do have access to a kind of a pre-existing brain scan. So depending on the level of the technology and the health history or medical history of the people, Evie's parents, it may be doable without having to resort to psionics. It is definitely the kind of thing you can repair with psionics as well. Any other plans for what to do, what to prep? For smuggling weapons aboard, incidentally, if you do intend to get anything on, it is admin or streetwise to try and get stuff past customs. And there is a chance you will not be inspected. With given the law level of this place, it's pretty high that you're going to go through some sort of inspection. But it's not as a guaranteed thing. You also could try and access stuff while you're there. You did meet that one trader who was part of King Oleb's. Remember the guy who had stuff from all over? Someone made a purchase from them of something. I don't remember what the device was, but there was an unusual thing that somebody purchased in last time you guys were through Drinax, and it was from that one sort of eclectic dealer. At the least you know somebody who can get a hold of unusual things. Nothing else, guys?
Yes, we'd have to decide, how are we trying to separate her from the two of them? We confront them before they board the bonhomme in public, or do we try and get her before they... Do we just grab her and run really, really fast? By causing a distraction?
I think our options of success will probably be greatly enhanced if we called on sort of government support for this in trade for what we thought we might do, which was explore some employment opportunities with Mr. Drinax. So things like shutting down any starship egress, kind of blocking them in I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud, really. Give something to give us an edge. Feels like we haven't got many cards.
Not
Depends
that
whether you
Dr.
want to do
Ilias would approve, but this would be a good case for having Bane and a high-powered sniper rifle. It is a lot easier.
that.
Yeah, because while they're still alive, it's very difficult to get away. Even if we snatch the girl, then I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll know where she is, or just teleport her back to them.
But they need to see, so if we have like smoke grenades or something to cause a diversion. What you said, Gandhi, they need to be able to perceive the target of their powers, right? So if they're engulfed in smoke or fog or something, would that
I don't know if
should
that,
massively limit them, right? I mean, it would still cause a scene if we throw smoke grenades in a public place as they are about to board the ship.
Yeah, I think so. The way that psychic powers work, I think clairvoyance is actually a separate ability from telepathy. So clairvoyance is a separate ability. So they could have access to it, but telepathy is the most common thing that most psychics have access to. Clairvoyance is not uncommon, but it's not the same thing. So, and also clairvoyance is not part of that standard Zodani training. So it's potentially a viable strategy. My point.
We could have that as a plan B and plan A. Make contact with the king, see what he's willing to offer. Get
And
one
the
of those
ship-
psionic shields.
and the ship, the Bonhomme, do we know if it's armed?
Do not know. Solomon has the name of it. He doesn't necessarily have the specs. Other than it being a trader. With a D, not a T or two T's. Any other plans? We can just throw you into Drinax if you like, but this is your opportunity to make any preparations that you feel is appropriate.
So,
Other
are there
than,
any other jobs we can do?
Yeah, can I have some let's try an easier job, shall we?
Other than the psionic shields, are there other ways of boosting one's defense against telepathic influence? Or is it Dr. Ilias would be thinking about drugs or something along those lines?
Let's take a peek at the central supply. I think there might be like a chaff grenade. I might be confusing it with 40k. But let's see.
Deny the witch. That's what we need.
You know what? I mean, they're also, gosh, I mean, they're not superhuman, right? So tranq grenades, any other kind of aerosol grenade that will disperse a fine mist to prevent, well, it doesn't dispense, I mean, that just prevents, or interferes with lasers. Thermal smoke that blocks IR vision as well as more regular vision. A stun grenade. Lighter sound that incapacitates a target without killing him. There isn't something specifically against psychics there, but those are some options. Also, like if you've got the less than lethal weaponry, that is something that would be equally effective on psychics as it would be on anyone else. So like a shock stick or any other kind of stun device. All those would be equally effective. static maul. So you want to localize gravity field on your end of your hammer. That probably is quite effective against psychics as well.
Hit him fast, hit him hard, but he might see us coming.
Or we could use Solomon as a distraction if he does his brooding detective shtick and approaches them as they head to the bonhomme, and we keep our distance until they're focused on him, and then throw some stun grenades or something along those lines. I might also do the trick.
Yeah.
Assuming we can get stun grenades on Drinax or past.
So we know that Dr. Ilias kind of excels in biochemical creativity from his adaptation of the what do you call it? Of the enzymes you could consume Aslan food and so forth. I will point out combat drugs grant a +4 dice modifier to initiative. So if you need to react before anyone else, it's 1,000 credits for each thing, which means I assume you'll be able to manufacture that with some, or at least a dose or two, with the materials you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the inhibitor gives a -2 to side checks, but it doesn't necessarily prevent it. Let's see here. So what are your... I mean, again, you guys could also still walk away from this if you're not interested in assisting. Ooh. They're psi-finding binoculars. They're TL 16 or higher, but there are binoculars that can spot psychic individuals.
Dr. Elias will turn to Yuri and ask the question, Yuri, can you be affected by psychic powers the same as our less evolved brains? Or are you...
If they are capable of teleportation or similar effects, telekinesis, I can be affected by those. I have yet to encounter the psychic who can affect my mind. I expect as well, unless I am incorrect, my mind would not read as either an unshielded mind or a shielded mind. They would quite clearly not see me coming. And he once again drops his Batista look, and he activates his optic camouflage, both physically and otherwise. If this can assist to save someone, I am happy to leave the ship and do what I can to assist. I am also... Oh, I didn't grab it. But let me grab the robot book. I think he's also... he's a monster in melee combat as well. So if you did want to send him in to rough him up, it wouldn't change the fact that it's probably illegal. But as far as combat efficacy is concerned...
We give the king a heads up to make it sort of legal.
I think so, but...
And then send Ultima 1 in to do the main roughing up while we get Evie to safety.
Yeah.
It does, of course, run the risk that someone from GDCO notices Ultima 1 roughing people up and...
GDCO! What's that over there?
I think.
Yeah, he's got a strength of 15 and a dex of 15. So he does hit pretty hard, if need be. Active camouflage. Yeah, no like weaponry installed necessarily, but I mean his. I would treat his melee as if it was like a gauntlet as opposed to a bare fist. He does not have the program loaded at present, but he has ample room to upload combat effectiveness programs. So he could load that if needs be. He had been... I know that Dane had been training with melee in preparation for his duel to serve as the second. That likely would be accessible for him too, and he could load it in as a program. He's got 74 bandwidth available, basically, for it. So, in addition to his other impressive skills. So, what do you... The thing is, he would not be immune to... if they are capable of teleporting others, then he wouldn't be immune to that.
So the hope would be that if he gets in, revs up the telekinetic as a first one, because assuming the telepath is mostly focused on mind powers, which he wouldn't be affected by, then the good chance of taking out the telekinetic, we get Evie to safety. Stun grenades, smoke grenades. And we're sort out the rest after?
Yeah, it sounds sort of sufficiently loose for us to be able to adapt as we go. That's me being optimistic about it.
I think we call that Shadowrun certainty. So,
and yeah, we should make contact with King Olab to see what assistance he might be able to. Well, obviously, possibly in exchange for us doing him a favor or doing a job for him, but...
You're not wrong about if you're bringing to his attention that there are spies moving through his system, then yeah, he is likely going to be grateful for that. Even just knowing that they're going through is probably something he would be grateful to know. Let's think about the response by the Zodani as well. If you attack them and you take the kid, what do they do in a high law level area like this? And with the realities of sort of the physics of travel and whatnot in Traveler. Because they can't just teleport, off planet and escape in some ship. Like, they're going to have to follow the same physics that you guys are stuck with. They would need to get on a ship, either the Banum or something else. They would need to depart the fucking atmosphere. They'd need to leave the system. All that takes time, and depending on the thrust of the vehicle, they could get caught, they could get overtaken. Not necessarily by you guys, but just as far as they would have to be considering that there may be other folks who may be looking for them. They can't just vanish. And while there is many advantages to the flying city of Drinax, living room is not really one of them. Remember, everything is on top of one another. You've got priceless treasures that are stacked up in these rooms all around one another because of the shortage of space available.
Well, I mean, there's a variety of things they could do. They can't immediately get off, then they could they may have a safe place on system, which they could hide in.
If they can get off the planet, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends how sophisticated. Maybe they're not particularly sophisticated in terms of what they have here.
No, and like
Drinax.
Ganny can fill in, like there are, the way that the commandos are able to survive their teleportation stuff is there's specific psychic armor that protects you against those things, against the temperature changes and all the other, what do you call it, elevation changes. If you're not wearing that stuff though, and you teleport, we were joking about this beforehand, teleport a kilometer up, the rules as written tell you what happens. Your character fucking dies. So they can't just like teleport a mile up or teleport a mile down and just get away from everybody, because if they have that armor on with the protection, then they can do that stuff. But they're not, they're not Star Trek, god psychics, right? They're not Gary, whatever his name is. Not Gary Seven. Gary Mitchell? Anyway. They're not to like god tier psychics. They still are operating within a certain limitations of this, and they are also in a hostile territory where you, at the very least, have someone who knows your name at some point or knew it and didn't think ill of you. So you have more advantages going on, maybe than, or at the very least, they have disadvantages that will serve to be advantages for you guys as far as what they can do to respond.
Yeah.
And remember, the Hawk Guard, the Star Guard of Drinax, they all have flying belts too, so they can think in three-dimensional ways of responding to any kind of terror. And not for nothing, there are defenses in the Flying City. So if, for instance, someone was hostile to the King Oleb and tried to escape, they have the capability of preventing them from doing that. And they're not really concerned where things fall in the ashes of Drinax, the wastelands that are below the Flying City. Also, you guys have guns now. But
anyone on board know how to use them?
I do.
Laris does as well.
Right. All right, yeah. Yeah.
So then, have you a plan?
Yeah.
A loose collection of ideas that are lightly coupled.
What do you propose to Solomon then? Because he, unless you tell him otherwise, you've told him that you were going to help, but he would like to know what his role is and what the exposure to Evie is.
Oh, I guess one thing we didn't ask last time, or I can't remember. Do they know that he's still after them?
They must.
Or how, they must.
The way that they've been able to evade him, and the way that he has not been subtle about his questions, they must know.
Okay. It's a shame.
Or maybe it could be to our advantage, because if he shows up on Drinax asking his usual questions, they presumably possibly just go, oh yeah, here he goes again. They wouldn't see that as suspicious in and of itself, but it might distract him from anything we do.
Well, Ultima 1 will also point out that while it would be a risk to have me involved without use of it, I do have access to a holographic disguise. If your concern is his face, he could make use of it and conceal himself.
Yeah. Potentially his arrival and being noted as arriving may prompt them to react. Maybe in a beneficial way, I don't know.
But my understanding is that he hopes to this time get there before they do, essentially, because otherwise, they'll be on the bonhomme and away. We would want to know, what ship are they arriving on, or things like that, so he can help with some of the investigation.
He's also been doing this cop thing for more than a decade, so he's not unskilled in remaining undetected. He can blend in, notwithstanding his, always appearing in black and white.
I guess we want to know more about the bonhomme, like how well armed is it, how many people might be on it, because if they can call upon, not necessarily other Zoldani, but mercenaries, or...
If they did with the law level they've got, they would have to fight their way through Drinax's defenses in order to get there, and they'd be facing TL-15 weaponry. The very best that the Sindalan Empire had to offer, they'd have to fight their way through that in order to do so. They really are not only, setting aside that they are limited in they're away from the consulate in general, they're also on a place that is really not, it's not to your advantage because you can't bring weapons and whatnot freely out here, but neither can they.
Yeah, so it's really their telekinetics that we've got to worry about. Because if they've got some holdout pistol, it's not going to do well against a fully armed guard.
Yeah. And as much as they have, they may be able to use their abilities on one person or two people, like there's a ton of the Star Guard. The place is very well protected, to say nothing of any kind of Drinaxi robots or whatnot that would be used. So fighting their way through here would be even though they've got some impressive psychic abilities, there are two of them.
So we might be, I guess, could we ask King Olaf to just have them arrested?
I think to maximize our success, we need to get favor of King Oleb.
Danny, from your training and such, do you know how Zoldani would react if they're cornered? I mean, these obviously underground operatives and with a valuable asset, but they have some sort of cyanide pill type directives, or obviously they want to endanger Evie. If it's a sort of, if we can't have her, or the jig's up, let's go out in the big. Do you know how they might react to any type of certain defeat?
Unless I suddenly have a flash of recollection, I would just assume they're ruthless and determined. So they're probably okay for the fact that if they can't have her, no one will, and go down at the hail of bullets. They probably won't want to be captured.
No.
You can basically, I think, what you could, because you rolled so well for that roll before, Captain Gani, anything you can expect Third Imperium intelligence to do, they would be, or the Imperium's intelligence agencies to do, they would be capable of doing as well. So, which is to say, they're not going to like kill themselves at the first chance of being captured or whatnot. But you're not wrong that they have the ability to edit memories and things like that, seemingly, or at least to edit reactions and to have powerful telepathic abilities. They may be willing to go more lengths before giving up than what, others may do. So is Solomon going incognito? Is he going to make his presence known? His plan was to not make his presence known until, it was punching time. Once it was knuckle sandwich o'clock, he was ready to go. But until such time. And how would you like to involve Ultima 1, if at all? I can't believe I left her out of it, too, but I mean, you guys do have Nursebot. Nursebot is effectively a tic-tac with wheels, but I mean, they would never see it coming.
We have a
Nice.
sign saying 3 hugs, and then when she hugs him, she does the injection of the for a present.
Hugbot.
But I like the idea of having Ultima and then Solomon incognito hidden until it is knuckle o'clock time. And then if they focus on the psychics and we focus on getting Evie to safety.
Okay. What I was going to look up is multiple attacks, because I don't know if there are rules as written for like trying to take 2 attacks back to back. Ultima 1 is going to be pretty skilled by the time you guys reach there. So,
And it's a risk, but it feels like Ultima 1 is our main strike agent, really.
he is
I'm
the
happy to
least
back him up.
vulnerable.
To back him up in some kind of way.
Yeah, telepathy at least.
But maybe we should do a 2-prong thing. Maybe we should get King Olab on side, zero in on where they are, do as you suggest. Maybe use Solomon as a monitored diversion.
Dual wielding in the game is -2 dice modifiers to the attack of each, and you cannot aim. So, effectively, you could have Ultima 1 attack twice and hit each of them. Whether that would take them out is another question. But it is doable. Or he could, if you've got something else like a sedative or some other thing you wish for him to apply, that could be likewise 2 attacks. Just mechanically, I was curious to see whether we had guidance on that. If you're going to follow up with King Olab, will you wish to contact him before, like once you get in system, to set up an audience?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I think we have to.
okay. What are you asking of King Olab? What information do you want to share with him as far as what the rest of the crew? Laris doesn't know this, but what the rest of the crew would know is that you did deliver that message from the intercessor before, and I don't think you guys read the message, but the intercessor is a potent psychic alien. Have you told Laris about the intercessor yet?
I think it would probably have come up because I think Dr. Ellis certainly mentioned that, the intercessor might be able to have lots of information, but would be a few more jumps away, so the timeline might not work out to hop over and get their help before. But if we have to reprogram someone after,
So,
or unprogram someone, the intercessor might be able to help with that.
Laris, would you give us do you have something that would be like sociology or something like that? I don't think you have anything specifically about the Sodani consulate itself, but anything that would tell you about like the history or the...
I have sophontology.
Yes. Why don't you give us a sophontology roll, please?
Yeah.
That is one off from a critical success. So
Wow.
here's
Okay.
something that when you mention the intercessor, given Laris's background in this... Oh, there you go. Nice. Oh, sorry. No. You don't need to spend that luck. The 14 is fucking awesome. I just was noting that it was almost boxcars. for it because it was a 5 and a
I
6 you
got-
rolled.
okay.
Yeah. Sorry, no, you still got that luck. So as a reminder, this is what the intercessor looks like. Where is he? Oh, I don't know if I did a handout for him. Unless I didn't. So he happens to be on that thing. So let me bring you over. I'll make a handout for him shortly. That's what the intercessor looks like. That grayish alien in the center.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So here is the thing. It is not, when it's mentioned to you, like you're able to access whatever your your secret files, the things you've kept with you before. Whether you share this with the crew, I'll leave it to you. There is a species that is in Zodani space called the Shrusik. And the Shrusik, like the Zodani, are a psychic species, but where the Zodani are not a natively psychic species, they are humanity who has been altered in order to have these psychic powers that have just continued to breed true in their species. The Shrusik are naturally, natively psychic, and they have an unusual. The more Shrusik that you have around, the more potent and powerful their psychic abilities are. Not surprisingly, Laris, it's a matter of interest for the Zodani how they did that. Because if you could replicate whatever is going on in the Shrusik among the Zodani, that just dramatically increases the potency of some of their abilities. And we get not necessarily into like Star Trek God Psychic level, but we get a lot closer to that than we do your average individual psychic who is limited by the capabilities of their mind and their own psychic gifts. If there is a Shrusik here, this is as unusual. Actually, it's significantly more unusual than having a Zodani agent this far out. Because the Shrusik are deeply interconnected to their own people. It is in the same way that some species just are physically in need or can manifest physical changes when they are not properly socialized around other species. The Shrusik have a specific psychic connection that it seems to rely on. So it's both to their benefit and their detriment. If you take them away from one another, they just fucking die. They do not have the ability to. They end up suffering such atrophy of those abilities and such losses that they don't die in the sense of like they physically wilt away, but they'll just completely break down mentally. If there's a Shrusik in the Borderland district who is living on his own, there's all sorts of reasons to think this is really weird.
Okay.
It would be one of the only ones you would be aware of that would survive this far, survive on their own, and be this far away from anywhere near their home planet. So, the thing that the people here have been, or the crew, the being that the crew have been calling the Intercessor, you would know is a Shrusik.
Shrusik. Right.
Would Laris
I'll
have...
share my understanding.
You would have shared that intel?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will share that. once I make the connection, which perhaps I've only latterly been able to do, the realization will hit, and I'll let people know that you were in the presence of a very sort of unique instant, apparently individually. But... Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I lost your audio for a second. Did you guys have him break up as well?
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
my audio is cutting out as well, so I'm not getting everybody.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead. So say again, Graham. What were you saying?
No, I think I would have passed that on, and I would have said, you were in the presence of a Strusik and quite a unique instance of the species, as they are apparently surviving and coping whilst also individual, apparently.
Interesting. I mean, we only saw one of them. There might be others hidden.
And how are they connected?
You may recall that there was a human telepath who was with the intercessor when you guys had the audience with her.
Oh,
There was the human.
She was really mean to Alonso.
She was very mean.
Yes.
Maybe this one has adapted and can gain whatever sustenance it needs from its own kind from other telepaths.
Possible, I suppose. Unusual, though.
It might also explain the psychic whammy that Alonso was hit with. You would have to be an unbelievably powerful psychic in order to do that, but Strusik, if that Strusik network functions the way that Laris understands it to do, could almost serve as like an augmenting of those. Although, of course, all the intel that Laris has is it's only the Strusik among themselves who have that capability. Other psychics can't just piggyback off of the network. Unless. Something to contemplate on our mid-session break. So, for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
My baby. Hello? I know, I'm talking to the machine again, aren't I? And you're a good boy. You're a good boy. Yes, you are.
Okay. Hey, everybody in chat. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Oh, okay. Graham, I'm not sure if you're back. I saw your message as well. Oh, I'm gonna grab my phone while we're waiting.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be back online, as in camera on, in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
I picture Graham holding a cake.
It's the biggest D20 I have.
I've got a cake.
All right.
I was actually going to be, I was thinking of doing like a paid GM gig, and that was my profile picture for my paid GM gig.
Okay. Then I assume the other hand is the hand out for the cash, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So then, guys, what... I don't think that your revelation about the Strusik and the Intercessor necessarily changes your plan for Drinax, but Laris, it appears, has much more information about the consulate than maybe you suspected before. I'm sure there's nothing sinister there.
Careful, next thing you know, some Aslan will accuse you of being a spy master.
And you'll never shake it.
I love the idea that this is just being spread around by among the Ihate. There's this guy who claims he's a geneticist, but I tell you, he is really... So, what it sounds like you're going to be meeting or approaching King Oleb. I got diverted by the talking about the Intercessor because of the talk about psychics in there. He would be aware that the intercessor is some kind of psychic alien, at least. In all likelihood. Well, Woody, I'm trying to remember if he... you don't know one way or the other. You know that the intercessor apparently contacted him, and you know that the intercessor mentioned a potential alliance, but I don't think you guys necessarily know what the proposal was or what he knows about the intercessor. So, I guess back to my question, what do you wish to tell King Oleb, and what do you wish to ask of him?
A good question.
Yeah. And it has serious ramifications for your business, Ganny, and that of the ship, I would say.
Yeah, last time King Oleb made a not-so-veiled reference to upgrading your shitty maneuver drive. I mean,
you're a nice one.
Yeah, the thrust 1. I mean, you guys are doing pretty well.
But it's very shiny, I can assure you. You should come down the engine room and see it.
I think we want to let him know that we're going to arrive back and that we have important news. Do we ask for an audience with him? Is that too presumptuous, or do we just encrypt a message that says there are 2 Zodani spies that we assume will be arriving on Drinax soon, and we're hoping to mess up their plans? Can you help?
Quite like that.
Is that I mean, obviously we're much more flowery and diplomatically than that, but is that the gist of what we want to from King Olab, or do we just send a message saying, hey, we're back and we have an audience, please?
No, but do we
have some
couch it
important
also?
news.
But do we couch it more in it's a threat to his palace's security rather than more about what's in it for him, as it were, or our concern for his safety? So we ask if we can have a audience with the major domo about the security of the palace.
Princess Rao, again.
Yeah, because we don't want to be too presumptuous. And maybe if he hears it's about palace security, that will get him to volunteer himself, rather than us trying to demand it.
Laris would say, I've no experience of this family, so you'd have to advise me which of those options is the better.
Well, limited and Apache experience of diplomacy in the scout service, but that would be my approach. I was coached to do sometimes the indirect route.
Yes.
And sometimes that can get you the audience you want.
Very good.
What was your impression of how King Oleb handles like significant audiences last time?
Lots of bombast. Well, also, as I remember, hovering around in the background.
He likes to watch.
Yeah, there'll be games. Have to meet Rao first, and he'll be judging us from the corners or something.
Exactly. So I'm sure even if we only see her in theory, it all will get to his ears.
Well, and as he made it very clear last time, and which I think helped us get out of the slight diplomatic pickle of having given the message to her rather than him. For all intents and purposes, she is him in an official capacity, therefore. Dealing with her is the same as dealing with him, yada, 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 right?
And if we ask him for the audience with her, then indirectly we're giving him the nod as well.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of...
Are we insulting him potentially by asking him for an audience with her?
Oh, we just, we don't want to bother him with such trivial things as security.
It also, you guys don't have a personal comm, for King Oleb anyway. It would go through the kind of the palace. So if you make a request by way of the palace.
Yeah. We don't have his cell phone number. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. A text message. Sup?
Yeah. Yo, Olaf, we're back.
Dude.
Okay, and that sounds like how you're going to approach it. And then what is the what is it you're telling Rao, or what you're intending on telling Rao? And by proxy, Olaf, I guess.
I guess, yes, as Gandhi says, we'll phrase it as worrying developments, foreign agents that we have become aware of and want to, inform them of and ensure, if any aid we can give them or.
Do you wish to share any of your? So here's some things that one of these bring to your attention. So you have a response for Ultima 1. If you intend on involving him in the plan to, rescue Evie, do you intend on letting Oleb know about him whatsoever? Ultima 1 has met King Oleb in past, he said. But more, he was viewed as a curiosity as opposed to a sentient, free being.
What does Ultima 1 think? Given that he's met him before.
I had indicated previously my King Oleb was seemingly quite taken with me as a unique thing, but you have seen his palace. His palace is full of unique things. And as such, I think his interest in me as a curiosity, if he remembers me, will not persist. The fact that he had interest in you is curious. I have only met the man once. He does not strike me as one to conceal what he wants. And if it is as you say, that he had offered something to you, it must mean that he wants something from you. What that is, I cannot say. Which is to say, I think he may be more interested in you than he would in me.
We're exceptionally normal. Absolutely.
Indeed. And for his faults, Oleb does not seem beholden to any corporate interests. And thus, while there may be others in the Flying City who may seek to curry favor with my former captors. Jidiko, he's talking about us! I don't expect Oleb to betray me as such.
I don't think our initial message needs to mention Ultima 1. Maybe if we do get an audience with either Rao or King Olaf and they want more information about how we plan to, we can bring him up as one of our assets, but I think the initial message is just to get contact and maybe get another audience or
so we neither promote him nor hide him.
Yeah, we'll just not mention him.
When you approach King Oleb and bring to his attention these foreign interests, will you mention Evie?
There, I think we should. I'm a believer in openness on these things. I think King Oleb and his family probably like straight talkers and not people who squirrel things away.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I think it opens up a possible further opportunity for the exchange of opportunities and reimbursements if we are more open about why we are here and what we're doing.
I will, in my time observing King Oleb, he has a uniquely transactional way of seemingly prioritizing matters. More so than most of his status. So, that is what you guys will be messaging Oleb when you get into orbit. Any other things you need to... Solomon says that it sounds like the plan will be contingent on the response of King Oleb. Is there anything else we need to prepare in the interim? We've talked a little bit about any pharmacological preparations. Those would take time. So, Dr. Ilias, if you did intend to do anything, whether an antiseptic, anesthetic, or whether psi suppressor, combat drugs, or combination of them. Bless you. Then you this would be a week in order to do such a thing.
One thing I will ask the crew if they would want combat drugs to help with the...
It is incompatible with Ultima 1's system, but...
That just sounds like an interesting challenge, Ultima.
Well, I'm trying to manage my intake of processed sugar, but maybe I'll go with this.
But weaponize adrenaline, I'm all on board.
Yeah,
I'll make combat drug 0. It's sugar-free, low fat.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
For the commando who wants to be ready for bikini season. It's...
Now with improved taste.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
kind of know Dane's answer already.
In that case, yes, I will try and make some combat drug.
Okay. Anything else you guys wish to prepare in the week leading up? The weekend jump? Let's see here. So it's only a TL10 substance. So why don't we say difficulty of 10 for your...
Okay, yeah.
And I think, what do you think? Biochemistry? Or
chemistry.
Chemistry? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the bonus from the med kit and such would not apply.
Absolutely. No, you can. You can apply it. And actually, hold on. Let's take a look at the time increments. Because if... Let's see here. Where's the skills? Is this on the screen? I wonder. I keep bringing the GM screen out, and because it's got... Damn it. Because it's got so few things on it that I find of use on a regular basis, I forget what's actually on it. Yeah, time frames. They are. Okay. On day... You know, you can get a +2 from the time as well.
Nice.
I just need to pick up some stuff I knocked over as well.
Don't enter the plus where the universe ends.
Okay, let's see. Holy smokes. All right.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So, let's say maybe let's say 4 applications you're able to make of that. So you'll have 4 applications of combat drugs ready in time for when everything arrives, and it'll have almost no side effects, guys. Almost very, don't even worry about it. I'm sure it's not gonna.
Yeah. Bit of a headache, maybe.
Mm-hmm. What about how does Dr. Ilias feel? If you're looking back, there may be a moment in your lab when you're thinking of like a year ago, I was in service to space pharaohs, and now I'm making back alley combat drugs to rescue a kidnapped child while trying to get
that would be
help from a space king.
I think there would be a weird element of Dr. Ellis thinks that this is more worthwhile than trying to prolong the genetic bloodline of some megalomaniac wannabe,
Yeah.
noble. It actually feels like he's doing something worthwhile and, saving lives rather than just, living in a gilded cage. So yeah, that'll be an element of like, yeah, and what, this feels good.
Nice. That's awesome. Captain Gani, what about you?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? We've talked obliquely about your relationship to psionics and whatnot. How do you feel, or how is this plan or this development sitting with you when you're on your own?
Keep getting myself into trouble, I do. But at this point, there's not much choice.
Though,
In for a penny, in for a pound at this point.
I will say,
Offing any spanner in the Zodani gearbox would be approved of at Fleet Command.
well, to that point, I think your next step is where you're going to be sharing intel with naval intelligence.
Yep.
If you're showing up with intel on 2 hostile polities, you may be going up in the estimation of the Naval Intelligence Service.
Indeed, but note, Captain Gani is a man not looking at. He's just aiming for the right thing for the Imperium.
Mm.
But yes, that would be a nice side effect. Get above his previous lowly rank.
Yeah.
I think he was just a lieutenant. Because as far as he gets, I'll need to go check.
Yeah. And Laris, what's you? To check in, and this is now you're back into the thick of things, as it were. Is life as interesting out among the stars as you remember?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a fascinating exercise, which I will intellectually enjoy. There are so many variables here which we do not understand, which of course makes the outcome entirely unpredictable. And far from being uncomfortable with that, I'm going to enjoy seeing these variables coalesce and form in unexpected ways around us. And I will enjoy the splash of the impact of those variables as we struggle to survive. I think it'll be fascinating.
Mm. So, who is in charge of keeping Mother Candle busy for this last week? This will just be a single task role for this, but she's most definitely trying to snoop out as much as she can through herself and her new confederate in Burris. Booties. Oh my god, she's got a sidekick thug named Boris. This is such a hack game, my god.
That question, everybody's looking at their shoes at this moment.
Yeah.
I could, and then I'd have to space it.
I'm busy making drugs.
I'll be busy taking them.
Wait, what?
Laris, you definitely had a rapport and certainly an understanding you reached with her. That's right, we forgot about that from last time. You and Mother Candle had a moment of true honesty among one another.
We
And
did.
that's this episode demonetized.
Oh well. Is it me then?
So, what what do you call it? I think the only time we've had 2 times when we've had like as soon as I finish up, we're like, well, that's not monetized. One of them was when I opened a session with a description of the last session where you guys had learned about a murder suicide. Turns out one of those is a flag word for like no. And the other one was when I titled a pulp episode about Nazi cyborg dinosaurs or some nonsense like that. Unsurprisingly, that one was likewise demonetized.
I'm just glad to hear that Mrs. Slocum got through.
Mrs. Slocum did get through, yes. Euphemisms, that is the trick. So then, Laris, if you are... Let me take a look at our skill list here. What are we going to roll for contested? So she is definitely going to be using investigate for her check. And I'm going to give her a boon because Boris is also snooping in. And Solomon, unfortunately, is under... Oh, you gave him a... What do you call it? Something to deal with the side effects of his drugs, right?
Yes, I adjusted them so that they're not as bad.
Okay. So she's not going to get anything from his curious behavior. He's back to his usual ability to be a vault if need be. And I don't think Burris is a terribly effective. He is a soldier, but he's not like a fucking espionage person. So I'll just roll hers normally. Laris, what do you think you're doing to conceal things? Streetwise or...
Oh dear.
Could be stealth and like intellect as well.
Could be. It's a question of what my approach is going to be.
Avoiding detection by security patrol. No, that's okay. So that's a stealth dex, but I mean, I could see stealth intelligence being the pairing for that. What do you think?
I don't know. I think I was going to try maybe just try to charm isn't really his thing, but hilariously maybe that's what he might try. So he might try to distract her by suffusing her with attention and charm, and see if there's any weakness there that he might be able to say exploit.
So go ahead.
So it's not him, but I think sometimes you don't go with the thing that's you. You sort of
go ahead and give us a carouse check then.
Sadly, I think it would be carouse, which he does have, but it's not really his thing. But I think it'd be quite fun to see.
For her, I have rolled a 13 total.
Okay, so this is not going to go well.
You do have 9 luck left, so you got that to rely on.
How are we doing on time? There you go.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that.
You would need all 9.
You had 9 luck, so
no. It's I proved to be wholly ineffectual in distracting her, and she probably sees through me very, very quickly.
So it's not just that she would, just so you understand the stakes, she's going to have a much better, like, it's a week of her listening in and watching and whatever else.
Yeah.
She will have it's not a matter of like, oh, something's up. She's going to have a much better position to work from. She's not necessarily, again, like a direct threat, but she's definitely a dangerous lady. Do you want to spend that 9 luck to bamboozle her, or are you going to save that for dealing with the consequences of what she might do when she gets
No, we need to save it, although she's dangerous. We've got probably yet more dangerous parties that, given the time we have, might yet come into play.
So she's beat you by 8, which means I think she's going to have a full understanding of what's going on. Somebody had loose lips here, guys. So, let me sit with that for a second.
Yeah.
Because I think...
Well, I think that went really well. I don't think she's got any idea what's going on.
I think in the midst... You know what? Here, so it's a give... I think that you're fairly confident that she slipped you a Mickey at some point.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a matter of, like... This is a matter of you waking up, you know, hungover and whatnot, alone in your cabin, and being like, what happened?
Wow, that must have gone so well.
Yeah.
Because I can't even remember it.
And the last thing you remember is enjoying drinks with Mother Candle about this. And... Ooh. I'm trying to decide how she's going to play this. Because she would have a week to make this decision up. Assuming this happens like midweek, so she'd at least have a couple of days.
Sure.
So I think she would... She knows what Captain Gani's response is likely to be. She has clocked what your receptiveness is. Laris, she knows, is a newbie to the crew and not an owner. So I think that leaves Dr. Ilias. See, you are... It perhaps comes after that meeting with... or the meeting, the revelation that you had of just kind of like realizing how far you've come in you know, 12 months ago. Whatever, you know, space Facebook gave you, like, remember what you were doing last year? And it's you and, you know, someone in a quasi-Egyptian, you know, outfit, but in space. And she enters, and she's unaccompanied by Burris, which for the first time you've seen in probably, you know, a couple of days at least. And you turn around, you see she is in. And once again, she's still, you know, immaculately groomed. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Mother Candle, are you feeling well?
Exceptionally well. Thank you for asking. And yourself? I see you have been busy at a project.
Yes, I'd like to keep my mind occupied on these long. This can otherwise get tedious.
Well, it's good that you have such a unconventional project to be working on, and such a unique problem to solve. Laris was telling me all about it last evening. Does Dr. Ilias have the look on his face that you have on your face?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that, because Dr. Ilias is not a spy master, and while he has spent some time at the port and dealing with, you know, pharaohs and such, I think he'd probably let, like, yeah, his facial reaction would let something slip at the moment of, like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Before he then sort of regains his composure.
Puts her hand up. Dr. Ilias, you need not concern yourself. I see a look of concern on your face. Laris, he felt unburdened by sharing this task, and such a troublesome thing. A young girl at threat, in danger, at a vicious alien kidnapper. You surely could not think that I would feel such a thing would be justified, nor that I would stand by and agree to such a thing happening.
Well, I am glad to hear you are here to offer your formidable help, I assume.
Of course. I am so glad that you are open to the assistance that, however modest, that I may be able to assist. I have many friends in many places, and they may be able to be of great value and great assistance. And I understand that you will be meeting, or meeting again with King Oleb upon arrival in Drinax. I have not
You
had
understand
the...
that confidentiality between doctors and such things. I couldn't possibly comment one way or another on that, but you seem very well informed.
As I said, Laris seemed insistent that I should know what was happening. He is an exceptional judge of character. And I think he agreed it was insistent. It was important that I attend with your meeting, be it with Princess Rao or the great king himself, so that I might best be able to articulate how I and my modest ministry might be of assistance. I trust you are such a wise man yourself, Doctor. You could see the value of including me in such an audience.
Of course. Someone it would be foolish of us to deny ourselves someone of your talent.
Doctor, I am truly humbled by someone of your esteem thinking even half as kindly of me. May your inner light guide you.
I hope it will.
She turns and holds eyes with you long enough that it is unsettling and more than a little threatening. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and may your pharmacological experiments be fruitful.
Thank you.
As
Hope you find the light guiding you.
Thank you, Doctor. And she stops and turns back. You have been reading my material. She flashes you a smile that has absolutely no warmth in it. And come, Boris, as the doors are closing, you can hear her. He seems to have been lurking outside.
As Boris is wont to do.
Indeed.
Yeah.
There's possibly some choice words I picked up on Simok. Mutter. As I message Gani, just like, what's the protocol for spacing someone again?
Call me, and 10 seconds later it's done.
And then follow that up with a message to Laris and Gani saying, crew meeting now. Crew quarters, no passengers.
So, you all meet up. Laris is looking a little worse for wear. Doctor, you can see there is... I think the technical medical diagnosis is green in the gills. Now, to be clear, Laris, you have no recollection of that. And to be clear as well, she is an absolutely remorseless liar. So none of what I've said that she said was true is necessarily what you did or said.
Laris.
Yeah, it's that protein. No, that protein.
No, protein's off.
It's off. It's really not doing me at all good. I think maybe if I'd been more on the processed sugar, it might have offset it. But it's just raw. I'm not well.
No, and I assume having rings while already not feeling well last night might have added to your trouble. Would you permit me to run a basic diagnostic of this?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think that would be the most beneficial. I think I may have had one drink, but...
But not a candle, I am led to believe.
Well, yeah. I think I've successfully just kept her at bay a little bit. I don't think she's going to show much interest in what we're doing at all, which is good because I think all she wants probably is to get access to the king.
Yeah. And she made that very clear during our brief chat. It was her pouring the drinks. I guess Alonso seems preoccupied with writing his book.
Well, I thought it only polite to accept. Yeah, I mean she's a lady after all. We were just having a moment. It's a short moment. I don't remember very much after that.
But she does. She remembers all of it.
Well, there wasn't much to remember.
If you permit, Laris, can Dr. Elias run a basic diagnostics to see what kind, if any, residue is left of whatever rohypnol type thing?
There is exactly what you expect to find in his blood work.
Yeah.
I show Laris the results. So this would indicate it might not be the protein that's off. It might have been whatever Mother Candle put in your drink that loosened your lips.
And I think you would also have a counteragent to be able to sort of get Laris, back on track.
If you just.
And since we're sitting in the galley there, I will look pointedly at the airlock that's right there.
That was mostly a joke, Andy. I had a moment off. Yes, it would appear that Mother Candle knows all. Thanks to her underhanded tactics.
Ultima One says,
graph.
Laris, do you recall discussing me with her?
No. Do I? I don't think so.
He did not make mention to you, Ultima. She was very focused on helping a poor girl and being present when we meet the king. Now she has friends and influence.
I have
so keen to help.
I have followed your advice and avoided her. So it is possible she did not ask of me.
No. I think I should stay on the spreadsheets. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't think she knows about you. Ultimate One. It looks quite deflated and ill.
Yeah, ill. You feel a little better now that you got the injection, but
Oh, okay.
Once, and like whatever foggy headedness, within 10 minutes it would pass.
With quite a potent cocktail, Laris, you are not to blame for anything you might have divulged. This is reprehensible, and I mean, we have no proof, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is like criminal offense level of assault. So Anna agrees.
We could confront her, but
no, she's just too slippery.
We have to decide what to do with her. My sense from our discussion was very much or else, i.e. we have her involved and let her meet the king, and she gets her grubby little fingers into, or tries to, or she'll try and run interference.
I mean, the ship has its idiosyncrasies, does it not? I'm sure I would cast no aspersions as to the efficient running and maintenance of the vessel. But if her stateroom door was to have a problem.
Remind me, are we delivering her to Drinax?
I don't know. Where does she get off?
All three are going to Drinax.
Well, there you are.
Though,
now, if I remember, there is a general port at Drinax and there is a royal port at Drinax, a landing pad, or there will be. And maybe we drop our passengers off in the normal way, and then we come back round and visit the princess by landing at the other dock.
So let me just double check here. I actually don't know if there are two. There would be like a probably a royal thing, but that would not be like a having guests come in that way. Again, like space is at a premium in this thing because they did not design this place with the like having this many people live there for this long afterwards. It was a happy coincidence afterwards. Although there is royal docks, yeah.
I had a memory of royal docks, and
The
that
problem
way.
will be she won't be willing to be dropped off unless she has assurances or...
Well, what assurance? We just let her off, say we'll be joining her once we've secured the ship, and then we take off again and go around to the other docks.
Ultima One says, I have avoided her. And Laris has been, it seems, unsuccessful in deceiving her. Do we think we would be successful in such a ruse?
As long as we don't talk to her, there's nothing will be unusual about it. We will land, we let everyone disembark, and then we take off again. It's not abnormal for the crew to get
Yes.
off after the passengers.
But she knows we're planning on meeting the king. So unless we are successful in convincing her that we will pick her up again or let her know when such an audience will take place, she'll cause some kind of trouble.
Yeah,
by
but
the
she,
by.
my thought is, and the reason why I'm suggesting it is that she will, if we let her off, she will then put a surveillance on the docks to make sure we can't get out of the docks and try and sneak off to the palace. And that's the normal thing. You would expect that's what we'd do if we were going to double cross her. We'd let her get off, and then we would wait an hour or two and then try and sneak out a back door of the docks or something like that. So, but instead, we're going to be a little bit more extreme than that and head off to another dock that she can't even get to.
So you're assuming she's going to get off the ship then?
Well, she's going to Drinax.
Yeah, but she might not leave. Like, we'd have to physically...
I'm not following. Is she going to...
Might, well, but the Burris was lurking while she was chatting with me. He might cause a scene and have him draw on some of his old skills, potentially. I don't know. She strikes me as quite extreme in order to get what she wants. I don't know. I might be overreacting too. But she was. Her eyes are quite cold.
Like, what is the response if when you land, she says, tell me when you're meeting with the king? Then we'll go.
No, we said, but
So you can plan for that, and we'll also take into account dice rolls from it as well. You could trick her. Just you have not done so thus far.
Leave that to me.
Is that the fabled Darien sense of humor?
Yes.
The other thing is that Ultima One will mention, you will be in touch, you will be transmitting a message to the palace before our arrival, correct?
correct.
That's the plan, yes.
Then you would have an opportunity to as well. Mother Candle, whatever influence she may have at present, does not have control over what you say to the palace. First impressions, I have found, have been often consequential. And to the best of my knowledge, the court of Drinax has no knowledge of Mother Candle or the Candle of Hope Ministries yet, which might give you an opportunity to frame such impression.
So what can we tell the princess in advance? We
She's
have an unwanted hanger-on.
a charlatan chancer who will milk you for every credit you've got. In a very nice way. Unless her message has consequential uses for the royal family. Personal enlightenment, a detraction from other influences which may be currently difficult, might even be a philosophy that has some use to them.
Again, being a straight shooter and all, why don't we just say it is as it is? That we have this charlatan on board, they're trying to get access, and, you know, please be aware that they are not with us, you know. They do not speak for us, and
I see.
they are a distraction to our... So whatever impression she gives, for good or ill, that it doesn't tar us with it.
We might
Laris,
have to explain why we're bringing her along then, and how she managed to get in a situation where we had no choice but to involve her, which might tar us to an extent.
Yeah.
Laris has yet to meet Princess Rao, but Dr. Ilias and Gani, Captain Gani, you both have. How do you think Princess Rao would assess our Mother Candle?
Oh, she wasn't born yesterday.
Yeah, I'd like to think she'll see straight through her. It'll be quite fun to watch the two of them clash. My money's on Rao.
Yeah. Yeah. If Dane were here, he'd be smiling, saying, yeah.
And Boris is,
Fight.
and Boris isn't going to bother the Starguard too much.
No.
So how would you care to frame the message to them? And I guess, do you want to let Solomon in on the fact that Mother Candle has sussed out what's going on?
Yeah, I think we should let him know we're a partnership. But he trusted us with a number of things. We've trusted him, so there's no reason to. And then from the picture he has,
she did not make the best impression on him to get-go. You may remember he told her to, on no certain terms, go fuck herself when she tried to talk to him earlier. He has less of an impression of her right now, and his immediate thought is, she'll go to the Zodani.
Right.
Now, he may be wrong about that, but that's his first, right? That's what his thought is. We can't let her go. I've seen her type before. If she's going to try and go to, if she can't get something from one, she'll try and go to the other. And if she knows about this meeting, and she knows about them coming.
That's a very dangerous game.
We've gotten away with it so far, but as much as possibly deluded in her own abilities. Might be safer than to just keep her along. Bring her to the whatever audience we might get and let Rao sort her out.
This Rao, you've talked, this is Solomon speaking. I should have a little fucking hat I can put on when I'm talking about Solomon. That certainly is not just an excuse for me to buy that kind of hat, but, you know. He says, this Rao. Do you think that Candle's going to get far with her? Or with this king? I hear he's a fool.
Oh no, he pretends to be a fool.
So if he's pretending, is this the first person trying to get access to his purse that he'll have come across? Or the princess has come across? Can we get him to deal with her?
Oh, I think we're all agreed that they'll see her for what she is. They have toadies and lackeys and all sorts around.
Yeah.
And can see her type. She may be good at it, but there's plenty of good toadies on Drinax.
So
Their lifeblood is politics and
gossip.
So she's entering the pro league here.
Can't we just drug her?
In theory, yes. In practice, I have some ethical reasons why.
I understand.
Unless there is no other way, I feel, in this case. Just doing what she wants. Take her to an audience and then let King Oleb and Princess Rao sort her out.
And
We've
again,
got to find a way of making sure that there is some space between us and this Candle woman in Princess Rao's mind.
Ultima 1 says, if, as you say, you wish to be plain spoken, Captain, perhaps being plain in your desire may also benefit. If we need her to be occupied until the circumstances with the child is resolved, perhaps just asking for it. He would know best, and the princess perhaps, what they can do to keep such individuals occupied. I have found, for instance, that at times it seems as if the king made sport of making one wait for an audience. And when such a thing is offered, do you think she would refuse the opportunity?
So are you proposing, Alpha 1, that we get her a separate later audience?
Once you are in the palace, do you think her bold enough to intervene if the princess insists that she wait while she meets with you.
Sounds like it would be a mistake. Yeah.
Those in her, I hesitate to use the word trade, but in her field, they are rarely successful as long as she has been by being foolish or incautious. You may find advantage in that.
Yeah, but I guess she wouldn't. I mean, she doesn't care about Evie or anything. So as long as I think she's in the palace, she's convinced she's going to get an audience that will be to her benefit. She doesn't care what we get up to, right? As long as she's in the palace, she sees Rao. Rao says, "I'll see you in an hour, or 2 or 3, or a day, or a week, or however long they drag this out. She'll wait."
Solomon seems to be kind of nodding along with you. Once she's there, do you think she'd leave? Even if left waiting, would she have a choice in it?
Imagine not.
She'd have to stay.
It would be very, very rude to speak about an audience.
Protocol.
Yeah, so maybe now a message to King Olaf / Princess Rao. We just mentioned we've picked up an unfortunate interloper who's trying to seek, to gain advantage, and we'd appreciate it if,
Yeah,
they
she's
could help keep occupied.
That's maybe a lesser functionary can keep her entertained.
Yeah. We don't have to go into any detail, right? We can just say, unfortunate interloper, we don't have to reveal that she knows too much and how she gained that info, and we just say.
Yeah, she might be able to give you some tips. Fashion tips or something about her eye makeup. And her eye makeup is very good. I remember her eye makeup. I remember what was said.
Exceptional tailoring, indeed.
Yeah.
And maybe the master of the water closet that can take her on a tour or something.
Yeah.
Or even the, phone company strategy. Someone will be on with you in 5 minutes.
Your audience is important to us.
Yeah, just keep having a servant go back in. Just 10 more minutes. And out.
You are number 3 in line.
Yeah.
Or at least my experience with the phone company, if it's a contract, is you are actually on with them. But it takes you an hour to actually get to the thing.
Thank you for calling BT Technical Help Desk. My name is Kevin. Yeah. Can I start by getting your telephone number or a previous reference number? 15 years unemployed by BT, and I still got it. All right. Then, guys, we're at the end of our session with you guys arriving in the system of Drinax.
How did we get there?
We got there. Okay, so then for those, everyone gets 1 XP as usual. And for those
really disappointed if we don't get to Spacer at some point.
For those, I tell you, like the prospect of turning what was already a bad situation with her into even better. I am grateful that you didn't spend that luck, Graham. That was terrific. For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part 5 of the Pirates of Drinax campaign. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game, or the campaign, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where we have a channel dedicated to this campaign, as well as most of the other games and campaigns we run on the channel, as well as things like finding a group, GM discussion. There's a really knowledgeable and helpful and friendly community over there. You are more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. If they do not have something in stock that you're looking for, you can put it on a want list, and they'll send you an email when it comes in. And if you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code MUSERFROST. All caps, all one word. It's in the description of the video, and you'll save yourself 10% in your purchase. That'll change as of January 15, 2025. So if you are listening to this after that time, come back to one of our more recent videos, and you'll have the current discount code listed in the description of that video. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages, which was one of the charity fundraising campaigns that we run on the channel. I am currently sporting a Sex Pest mustache. That is because I'm participating in the Movember campaign. And if you, we're not having anything to support that specifically on the channel, but I expect that folks at home may know folks who are participating in this themselves, growing stupid mustaches for the purpose of supporting men's health. And if you are interested in donating to that initiative, then I would encourage you to find somebody who you do know, because it's probably not going to be hard to find this time of year. Anyone looking, suspicious and someone you would hide your kids from, just see if they're running a initiative for Movember as well. There's also the charity we support down below, the Heroes Save Villages campaign, which benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, an incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. You can learn all about the current activities we've got on the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server. And right now, at the time of recording, every if you've donated $25 or more since the start of the year, 2024, then you can head on over there and cast your vote for it'll be actually in 4 minutes the voting will be over for the current mashup campaign, but we have one more mashup session planned for the end of the year. That'll be the Dracula dossier that we'll be using as the basis, and I'll have 4 games that it is not designed to be played with that you'll be able to vote on for our final mashup session of the year. In addition, again, all donations go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman, just goes to benefit those kids. Last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart travelers. So James, David, and Graham, thank you so much for playing today, guys. Congratulations on a very RP heavy session. You guys uncovered a whole bunch of stuff. You planned a bunch of stuff. You pissed off and then seemingly have dealt with a troublesome NPC. A day well spent or a week well spent in transit. By the by, something's leaking in the cargo hold. You may want to check on that. We'll be back in the system, the Drinax system, in 2 weeks' time. But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about some of the troubles that our stalwart travelers are encountering as they're just trying to deliver some passengers to their destination. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.